And we're live. Okay. Hey, Data Factory fans, welcome to our July, oops, this is actually the wrong slide, but sorry. Let me remove this real quick. But welcome to our Azure Data Factory monthly live stream. It should say July 2022, which it did earlier. I'll reshare my screen. But anyway, welcome back. We're excited to have you here for our monthly update. Today, we're going to walk you through a bunch of really exciting things. The first of which being what's new in Azure Data Factory in July. And then we're going to talk to you about a few upcoming things in the next month that you can expect. And we actually also have a special guest. As you can see, we have Sunil joining us live. He's going to be talking to us about some supportability items. So, yay. Now that we are here, I'm actually going to show you where you can find what's new in Azure Data Factory. What we've got here is our Azure Data Factory blog. So as we had mentioned last month, we have started a new monthly blog. So if you look through our blog, you might see something that says Azure Data Factory July 2022 monthly update. And this blog will have all of our items that are new for this month. As a little inception here, you can also go straight to our live stream. So if you wanted to rewatch or join from the blog, you can do that as well. And it also links you to our What's New documentation, which is also another way you can see what's new in Azure Data Factory. So for July 2022, we've got some cool updates for you. There are quite a few in dataflows. So we've actually added a new source connector to Asana. This is a preview source, and it's only found when using inline data sets, but it's new. So please, if you want to, play around with that. We've also added 3 new data transformation functions. You can find this in our expression builder. And we've also got refresh from source available and refresh for the data source change scenario. So in data preview, you'll notice that you now have 2 options. You can refetch from source or you can refresh. This just makes it easy for you to refetch new data if your source changes. We've also got user-defined functions now generally available. So you might have seen some blogs previously when it had been in public preview, but now it is available to everyone. And we've also got easier configuration of Dataflow runtime. So we actually have some new pre-configured compute sizes for you to make it a little bit easier for you to choose what you need. So instead of having to pick core numbers, you can choose small, medium, or large. And of course, if you did want to customize that, you have that option as well. For CI/CD, we have global parameter support now in ARM templates. It's a click of a button, and you can make sure those are included. And for developer productivity, you might have seen us also talk about this a lot, but we do have the studio preview experience. So you can continue to, you can add that or enable that in your data factory and try some of the new UI features that we have. And I see in the comments, why is it labeled as July 2022? I know it is August 9th right now, but we summarize all of our updates from the month previous. So it is our July 2022 update because these are the things that we've released in the past month. Great question, though. It could be a little bit misleading. Awesome. So these are our updates from July 2022. Next month, you'll see our updates for August 2022. But yeah, if you wanted to go back and look at some of our previous updates, you can scroll through and find those here as well. Awesome. So I'm going to take you to Data Factory for some fun demos. So as I said earlier, I'm going to be showing you some data flow updates since we do have quite a few of them. So let me pull up one of my data flows. Cool. So as I was saying, we do have some new preview sources. So if I add a new source, you can take a look. For inline, as you see, we have a few new options here. A few of them say preview, so one of the ones I had previously mentioned was Asana. This is in preview still, but you can still test it if you'd like. We also have a few more that have preview, so data.world, Twilio, etc. So just a few new connector types that you can start to play around with. This real quick. And if you have noticed in data preview, so I was saying we have two new options. So now if your source does change, you can refetch from your sources. That way you can reread the new source data from that. If I'm going to refresh or refetch, I can show you what data I'm working with for this data flow. So I've got some book data. It's a little messy in here, so we're going to clean it up a little bit. But as you can see, we've got some book titles, some authors, some descriptions. Somewhere down here, we've got page numbers and release date, published date. And so something that you might have seen blogged recently is actually the new cast transformation, which makes it really easy for you to cast your column types to something else without having to create a new derived column or to know any of the expression builder expressions. So let me show you a little bit cleaner data. As you can see here, my published date is in string format. So are my pages. My pages are everything here is string. So if I use cast, what I can quickly do is create a new cast function, which is right, or cast transformation, which is right here at the bottom of schema modifier. And when I click into it, I can select my column name and what type I want to cast it to. So what I was doing, and I was changing my rating to a double. And if I wanted to make my date into a date, I can actually do that really quickly. And you'll see that everything has changed. And it was so quick and so simple. In the past, we probably would have had to create a derived column, and you would have had to enter an expression, and you would have to have found the actual expression, so to date, and you would have had to know exactly how to format that expression. So now instead of having to go through multiple steps like this, you can actually just quickly use the cast transformation, which is super awesome. If you also wanted to, I think we might have mentioned this previously, but in your source projection, you can also make those changes pretty early on as well. So if I wanted to modify my column types, I can easily do it here as well. So as you can see, we've got all these different options. Oops, let me find reading. And for certain types, you can actually specify the format. So for integers, you have all these to work with. For dates, you can also specify which format works best for you. So those are all different options, which are really cool. Cool. So those are just some of the new data flow updates that we've got for you. Something else I wanted to show you were a bunch of monitoring improvements that we've had in the past couple of months that you might not have been able to see yet. So if I go to monitor, you can see I've run a bunch of pipelines. What we now are able to do is if you are filtering through your pipelines, so if you click a few of these, manual trigger only, and you have all these filters, but you no longer want to see this view, you can actually clear all filters really quickly with this X button, and it'll bring everything back. What you can also do is edit your views of the columns that you're looking at. So say I also wanted to see what kind of trigger it was. Now I've got this column added into my view. And actually, if I were to refresh my data factory, that column view that you just edited would be preserved. So I still have that here. So when you make changes, those will all be included, even if you refresh. Something else that I think is super helpful is that you can export to CSV. So the only caveat is that only rows on the current page that you see will be exported, but you can still export your current page or the top 1,000 last pipeline runs that you've had, and you can see that in your CSV. Something else is super helpful for you in debugging or monitoring is to actually open up your runs in new tabs. So if you click on all these here, you can actually click open in new tabs, and you'll get 3 new tabs because I clicked on 3 different pipelines, but you'll get 3 new tabs that open for each of those pipelines. This allows you to be able to look in detail at different pipelines without having to toggle back and forth or only working with one tab and having to click back and forth and getting a little bit lost. So now you can actually see this pipeline. You can see that it's failed, why it's failed. You can see all the details and errors, and you can actually go through and update that pipeline directly without having to navigate back and forth. You can also get to this by right-clicking on each pipeline. You can open it in a new tab or a new window, or you can copy the link if you would like. So if you didn't want to work in many tabs, say you have so many tabs open, you can also open that up in a new window as well. That way it pops up as a new page. Cool. And then it's super easy. You can go back to your pipeline runs by clicking all pipeline runs, and it'll bring you back to your monitoring page. So those are some of the cool updates that we've had. Something else that I wanted to point out, just so that you can stay up to date with everything that we're having, is this little updates button. It looks like a little announcements horn. If you click it, you'll be able to see all of our release notes and updates. So if you don't get to our blog, or if you just are working in ADF and have been heads down in it, and you see a little icon with a little number pop up, you'll be able to see what has been recently released. And then clicking learn more will take you to the documentation so you can learn more about it. So just wanted to call that out to make sure that you are staying up to date with some of the new items that we've got coming to you. Something else I wanted to talk about real quick before I take it over to our special guest is some of the things that are coming out in the next few weeks. So you might have seen this new blog. There's a new experience for creating Data Factory within seconds. So this is something that we've been working on that will be available in the next couple of weeks. Definitely take a look at it and see if this is something that you would find helpful. Definitely geared to both new users and existing Data Factory users, but definitely go ahead and look at how easy it is to get to your Data Factory without having to go through the Azure portal. You can just go to adf.azure.com and get to your Data Factory right away. Something else that we want to call out real quick is in Data Factory, you might have seen in pipelines, you've seen the template gallery. What we'd like to do is start to open this up to the community so that if you as community members wanted to share a really awesome template that you've worked on, giving you the opportunity to share that out with the larger ADF community as well. So that is something that we're working on bringing out to you soon. So if you have anything in store or have things that you think that other people would like to use, definitely get those ready. We'll share out how you can include those into the template gallery in the next few weeks. Awesome. So now I'm going to send this over to Sunil. Sunil, we're so happy that you could join us today. And we actually are really excited for you to share with the community a little bit more about supportability. So Sunil, welcome.
Noel. Thank you, Noel. So let me share my screen. Okay. Welcome, everybody. So here I'm going to talk about, how you open a support ticket with Azure Data Factory, right? So before you open a support ticket with Azure Data Factory, usually what I've seen is, customers and users, try to find, questions and answers, right? Using different channels, right? For example, I'll show you here. So this is Microsoft's, Q&A feedback channel, right? You can see the screen here, right? And I'm looking for all the Data Factory related questions, right? And you can see this April 26th, 20, and so you can actually ask a question, right? And you can see the answers, right? So this Q&A forum is managed by something called a Microsoft CXP group. There are dedicated engineers who are monitoring these questions and they are getting answers, right? And then another channel usually customers get is go to the our Stack Overflow, right? In Stack Overflow also, you have your questions. I'm running a pipeline, or I'm getting some errors, or I want to set up this connector, or I want to use this transformation within dataflow, like Noel showed you, the cache function, those kind of questions, right? You can go to the Stack Overflow and see. And one thing personally, what I found is, a lot of ADF is driven by parameters, right? The pipelines, how to use these parameters, smartly, for each and lookup, a lot of creative ideas or techniques. Actually, I found them on Stack Overflow. Okay, so you have many channels, right? Internet, Stack Overflow, or Microsoft's own Q&A feedback, right? These are free channels. You can get, many of your questions answered. On top of that, you go to our ADF documentation, right? If I come here, right? See, ADF troubleshooting guide. So, for example, right, we have something called Azure Data Factory. So yeah, so you have our troubleshooting guides here, right? So I have seen customers getting most of their questions come to, suppose, the connectors, right? Say if you are using DB2 connector in Azure Data Factory and you got this error, right? So you might get answer here itself, right? So before you open a support ticket. Okay, so these are all our Data Factory documentation. There are how-to guides, tutorials, and I want to focus on the troubleshooting guides, because when you have a question or get into some issues, you want to open a support ticket. So after exhausting documentation, and exhausting Q&A forum, after exhausting Stack Overflow, and we have any MVPs who have written blogs on like ADF, right? You can refer to them also. And there are portals like SQL Central, MySQL, MS SQL Tips, right? There are many third-party, websites and the MVP. They keep on writing documentation, and you might get answers there also. In spite of all this, still if you have an issue, how you go about it, right? So here I'm going to just show you, right? So here this is my ADF PDF, right? So this is our main portal, right? I have overview, activity log, and then all that, right? So this is this is my PDF, right? You get here, right? So we have open studio and every documentation, right? And you come here, right? Towards the end, you see this new support request, right? Click here, right? Then I will say, say I can say Oracle connector error. Okay, that's my. So you give a summary of description, right? Issue type is technical because you might have your questions, right? It could be billing related, it could be service quota related, it could be about your ADF subscription, right? Or technical. In technical, because having Oracle connector is a technical matter, and this is my subscription. So your company, or you might have another subscription, you give that, right? And then it's all services, or my service, I'll pick up, this gets automatically selected, it's a data factory and it's ADF factory. So this thing is out of field because I'm doing a new support request from here. If you go to Cosmos DB or SQL Server, you will get out of field also. It's Azure wide pattern. Okay, and then I can click problem type, right? Connector, right? See, so behind this portal, there is I will say there is an ML and AI engine. Okay, they always look for what you typed, right? And which subscription you have, right? And they kind of automatically, it comes up with these two recommendations, right? You didn't do anything, you saw the recommendations, right? You pick here, right? And then we ask what is the problem type, right? I will say connectors cannot connect to source or sync server. Okay, these are recommended. I'm picking second recommendation here. Okay, and then I go to next. So here there is another AI engine which goes and searches for possible answers that have been that have been given in past, right? Okay, and then so the first thing what you can do is for example, you want to collect, because you run a pipeline, right? You can give your activity run ID here, right? Suppose I run a pipeline and I give an activity run ID, say I'll just pick something like this. Okay, I'll just give this. Okay, here, right? I'm just giving the same thing. Okay, say I do a submit. Okay, so for your activity ID could be something else, right? Pipeline runs on activities. When a pipeline run, it goes by activity, and you got a the copy activity error, right? That's what you will give, right? And you put here there is no issue found, right? And then are you connecting to if it's a private endpoint type connection, we give you some tips, right? And then here, right, we also share with you, right? These are all this we call Apollo documents. So over time, last 2-3 years, 4 years, we have for each issue we have developed this kind of documentation, right? So our goal is, right, how can we leverage you on the portal itself to get enough information so that you don't open a support ticket? Because ultimately what you want to solve the issue and move on, right? If you open a support ticket, you have to talk to a support person, you have to give some data, and the support person will analyze if it's escalation issue or some outage issue, or some engineering issue that involve the engineering and everything. The thing continues, right? What if you can get the answer very quickly, right? So these are the things, right? And then it says and then we give you, okay, these issues, right? So and now we give that you can give the you can start now live chat. Okay, this is the method, right? No. Okay, so you can start this method. Okay, so this is the chat way of so anyway, so I did my live chat and see if I had an issue or anything. But in the same time, you can see it's creating a support request based on my information. Okay, I do the next. Okay. So nothing helped me, right? My chat didn't help. My all the existing document didn't help, and my diagnostic logs didn't help, right? So now on my third step, where I will see, okay, Oracle, I will say, say 1500 error code, okay, or something, okay. Okay? What is the error message I see, okay? I will say, TCP error, okay, something, okay. This is a source server, okay. What connection are you using, right? I say, Oracle, right? What kind of integration runtime using, right? I can say, suppose I'm using self Azure IR, okay. When did it happen, okay? I'll put 9, whatever time I want to be, not sure, use current time. Is this a runtime issue, you know? So in this case, provide the pipeline. Remember, I put the run IDs here, right? File upload, attach a JSON code for data set, okay, link service. See, remember, always, right? I'm coming back here, okay. So within ADF, right, so everything is, as you know, right? Suppose I have my this one pipeline one, right? I have this data flow, right? So everything. So why don't I put a copy one, right? Copy for each, right? So this is there, right? So I have this JSON code, right? So I can take this JSON code and put it there. Okay. Okay. I just want to show you. Okay. Here. So so this, so this is what it is. So you can upload a JSON file, right? Um, you can put yes or no advanced connector. So you can have, right, support method, right? Severity, this is very important, right? Suppose if your production pipeline running with ADF, and you have got some sudden error, right, and you want to and it's a severe impact for you, so you could A, B, C. Okay, suppose you have an advisory question or something, right? You could not find the answer from all the other channels. What will you do? You will create a C impact, right? Moderate impact. Okay, so I'll create a minimal impact, right? Suppose connect now, okay, over chat. If you want to talk to some support person right away, that's one way. Or you can do an email. Some customers, if for questions of B and C category, folks give email, but for phone, there I'll give the phone number here, okay. Sunil Sabat, this is my email address, and then all that, right? I put my email here, right? And then all this information I give, and then here it is very important because of GDPR privacy, so we to give where it is, I put the in United States, okay. And then I can put save contacts, right? I do then next. Okay, and now I can create my support ticket. You can look at this, right? It's a technical nature. This is subscription data factory. This is the my data factory type. It is my data factory. My support issue, my support ticket related to connectors and connectivity, and the summary is Oracle connector error, right? And then I get some little details. I'm getting 1500 error code. It's a TCP error, right? Source server is running on in Oracle. It's an Azure IR. It could be SHIR. Okay. Then this is my activity ID. That's a copy activity ID, right? Etc. Right. And it's a minimal impact because I have a simple question why I'm getting this error, right? Blah blah. Then I can create the support ticket. So what happens is, depending on what you selected, right, you will get a call or an email, from ADF support team, and then the support process kicks in, right? And usually what happens is in the support person talks to you, and he or she may want to get your support files. He may look at your JSON files and quickly advise, and they will also do, right, their own research, right? Given the error code, error message, they have a big encyclopedia, right? They will say, oh, you are seeing this error, this is the solution, okay. they might solve it right away. But if something is complex or something happens intermittently, right, we might want to collect more logs, more diagnostics. But it may also happen that, so suppose, for some reason it's a complex issue, we have a method that the support person can open a channel with a backend engineering. For there is a connector engineering team, there is a data flow engineering team, there is a copy engineering team, we have a CI/CD engineering team. We have, this is so they know how to open the backend channels, right? And with that, they will share the same information. They will share their research, their logs, and all the communication that has happened between you and the CS engineer back with the engineer, the backend engineering, so that we can get the full context of what the issue, and then we'll provide a solution. Okay. And with the severity A kind of situations, right, because your production pipeline is down, we can be on a 24/7 bridge, okay, to manage that kind of process. We have incident managers, from Azure support, right, and as we have our own, we call DRI managers, right, we engineering managers also on 24/7 calls for survey issues. So Microsoft has different all these methods in place, right, just to make sure that your issue is addressed, right, in urgency as per your satisfaction, right, so that it can be up and running. Okay. So that's what I want to discuss in summary, right? At first, you go through all your internet channels to get the answers for your question, right? And read the blogs and read the many good portals on ADF and get all those answers, right? If nothing satisfies, you can always open a support ticket, and on the support portal you will be given many options, to self-help, so that you can find the answers. And they'll be given another option to open a live chat, with a CSS engineer and solve the problem. If that even doesn't work, you can really open a support ticket like this. You'll get a support ticket, big support ticket number with this. Okay, and then you can go further, in this troubleshooting journey. Okay, so with this, Noel, I will stop. Okay, yeah.
Cool.
Anybody? Yeah.
Thanks, Sunil. We're so glad that you were able to join us today and to walk us through all these different things about how to get supported. So want to thank you all for joining for this month's monthly update. And, if you want to continue to get information, remember to like and subscribe. We will also drop our other information in the description later, so you can find our updates on Twitter and our tutorial posts on YouTube. And again, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to tweet at us, leave comments on our videos. We're happy to address them. We'll post some other avenues that you can reach us at as well. But thank you again for joining today. Hope that this was helpful for you, and we will see you next month. Cool. Have a good day.